The following program, including all statements from the hosts and guests, is to provide general information and commentary about the law. Under no circumstances does any statement made by the host or guest to a caller or listener constitute legal advice or the formation of an attorney-client relationship, and the material from this program shall not be viewed as substitute for a personal consultation with an attorney. Now, prepare yourself to be informed and entertained by Gus Bravo and Neil Kotze, two AV-rated trial lawyers who have been practicing law for a combined total of nearly 40 years. For the next 30 minutes, they will share their insight and commentary on important legal issues affecting all of us.
One day, a man is walking down the beach, and he comes across an odd-looking lamp, something like out of Aladdin. Not to be obscure from tradition, he picks up the lamp and rubs it to see what happens. And a genie pops out. And the genie looks at him and says, "Sir, you have 3 wishes, but there's a catch. For everything you wish for, every lawyer in the world will receive double." The man ponders and he says, "I can live with that. My first wish is I want a Ferrari." And the genie says, "Poof, you have a Ferrari, but every lawyer in the world now has 2 Ferraris." The man says, "That's okay. My next wish, I want $1 million. Poof, the man has $1 million. But the genie says to him, "For every lawyer in the world now, they all have $2 million. And the man says, "Well, at least I have my million." And he sits and he decides what he wants to make for his third wish. And he looks at the genie and he says, "For my third wish, I've always wanted to donate a kidney." Hi, I'm Neil Kotze. Welcome to Attorney Confidential with Gus and Neil. We're here today with our good friend Jim Quinn. I think Gus is on the phone in Ohio. Gus, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me okay, Neil?
Actually, we can hear you, unfortunately. I mean, yes, we hear you just fine, Gus.
Nice.
I know.
Nice. You know what, Neil? The jokes don't get better with the distance.
They don't. Is that, wow. Oh, well, now, the issue is, before we start talking some meat and potatoes and some law, I know you too well, and we all know you too well. You're going to want to talk about women's soccer.
Yes. You know what? As a matter of fact, Neil, I actually had 2 pictures that should be hopefully coming up and that I took the liberty of sending because I knew, without something, the show could completely spiral down into something that obviously we would never want to repeat again, except Jim's there to save it from total catastrophe. But the first picture hopefully coming up, and you tell me if it's up there.
It is up there, Gus.
Okay, perfect. It should be of the U.S. Women's National Team celebrating their World Cup victory yesterday over Japan, which was an incredible accomplishment. It's the 3rd time that they've won the World Cup title, and actually the first country to be the 3-time winner of the Women's World Cup, which started in 1991. But more importantly, they avenged their loss in Japan. And believe it or not, Neil, it's been the last time that the women had won the World Cup.
16 years ago.
Summer of 1999. Yeah.
Right. There was the Brandy Chastain moment that all men were appreciative of, as well as just a great all-out game. Great shootout, that game. That was over China, wasn't it?
I was actually in law school, Neil. What were you doing then?
I'd been practicing law almost 10 years when that happened. Yeah, but I always have to call, as you know, when we talk sports, I have to try to tie it into my Tar Heels. And as a women's soccer program, the University of North Carolina is obviously the strongest women's soccer program in the country, winning 21 of the 33 that have been played championships in NCAA, and finishing second in 3. So making the finals in 24 of the 33 championships.
Yeah, they were just an absolute factor, and obviously Mia Hamm was the chief among them.
Absolutely. So I was telling Jim before the show started, one of my favorite Dean Smith quotes, and we all know, hopefully, Dean Smith, who passed away earlier this year.
You said it on air, by the way, for those of people keeping tabs.
Have I said this quote before on air?
I'm not sure, but let's try it.
You've probably just heard it before because you hear all my jokes and stories too many times, which is why it's such a joy to be looking at Jim instead of you. I've been not having you in the office for the last week. Anyway, we won't go there. But but no, is when Mac Brown, the great football coach, left Carolina, and Dean Smith was asked, "How are you ever going to get a good football coach to stay at North Carolina when you're a basketball school?" Dean Smith said, "I have no idea what you're talking about. we're a women's soccer school. And he talked about how Anson Dorrance had won multiple championships when he had only won one at that point. So
Exactly.
it really
Exactly. Well,
that's one of my
that-
favorites.
Gus,
And
let me
that's
ask you a
typically
question about women's soccer. Do you think this victory yesterday will help it become more relevant here in the States? I mean, I was looking at the National Women's Soccer League. The salaries range from $6,800 to $37,000 a year as the cap per player.
Yeah.
I mean, how do they afford that?
That's a very good point, Jim. I think it's more of an overall question is women's professional sports. I mean, I
Yeah.
think if there's any sport that has the opportunity to kind of make that breakthrough as a team sport, it would be either women's soccer or women's basketball. You know, I think those are the two. Obviously, the individual sports like tennis and golf. I mean, the women have been making a lot of obviously headway in that one. But team sports, not there yet, but certainly further ahead than they were in '99, which is always a promising thing. And my daughter plays soccer, and the last count there was 2 or 3 million young girls playing soccer in this country. So
Great.
eventually. There was support. There was probably a lot more support yesterday than.
I was going to say, yesterday is an inspiration, hopefully, for a lot of young women about the sports. And
But what was neat about it, and I heard a quote from, I want to say, I forget her name now, from 99 team. She said, well, we made progress in 99. Most of the comments were, wow, she's hot, and she can play, Whereas now they're saying, wow, what a great athlete, right? I mean, and so
Right.
we've progressed in that fashion. But
So we've
before we
done a
get to
complete-
me, and then I'll come to you guys. I have one more picture that should be coming up.
but
There was another sporting event this Saturday.
Oh, Chile and Argentina.
Yes,
right.
Yes. So
Hopefully no yellow
Saturday,
cards for
Chile
inappropriate.
won the Copa America. For those of you who are not familiar, Copa America is the tournament competing among the 10 South American countries, plus 2 invitees from outside, this being Jamaica and Mexico. And Chile, in its the 99-year history of the Copa America, Chile had never won it. And so, on Saturday, Chile beat Argentina to erase 99 years of misery and suffering. And so, I mean, it was. I watched it up here at a bar called Average Joe's in Columbus, and I guarantee you, I was the only person watching the soccer game from 2 South American teams.
Oh, wow.
I celebrated, and it was very interesting. So, with that,
You're right.
that concludes my part of the show, guys. I'm going to hang up and listen and have a good show.
We can always count on
my commentary, but go ahead.
Right, we can always count on you for sports. That's good. But one of the things, and Jim, thank you for coming. Jim is with Veritex Court Reporting. Jim, if you maybe tell us a little bit about what Veritex is.
Sure. We're a national provider of court reporting and videography and translation services. We're actually number 1 in the country now. We're based in New Jersey, and we have offices all throughout the country. We are able to assist our clients like Neil and Gus in virtually any zip code in the U.S., either in person or virtually. And that has allowed us to grow our business. We've been doing business in South Florida for 45 years, but we've been operating as a company since the late 90s and allowed us to go to number 1.
When you started.
Gee, you always have to bring it back to my age. But no, I mean, what Veritex has done, the reason I asked Jim, I've known Jim for a number of years. We're good friends, and I thought it'd be fun to have him on the show. But one of the things that we've talked, we give lawyers a hard time on the show, and one of the angles we haven't used yet to give lawyers a hard time is some court reporters to tell some stories about all the terrible things lawyers do, some funny things lawyers do. Jim originally was going to have a court reporter with him. Something happened. She wasn't able, but she shared stories with Jim who we're going to talk about. But I thought that'd be kind of fun, and I know, Jim, you brought some stories with you, so why don't we start with one and we'll just go with it?
Yeah, you lawyers, you guys are a handful, and most of our depositions are, the relationship is very cordial and whatnot. However, this one deposition we had in Miami was very adversarial, and they were arguing and fighting and verbally. The court reporter couldn't get the record down because they're talking over each other, and she couldn't type and get the record, the testimony down. So we had to split them up and put one in another room and have to video. It's called Veritex Virtual, which we're going to show you here in a little while. But Veritex Virtual is a web-based conferencing tool that we use
You had
when
to-
attorneys are geographically dispersed, and we had to use it in the same office.
You had to put them in a separate office because
and basically conference them in on a monitor. That's how. So it was. It took us about 20
Can you
minutes.
name the lawyers on the air who they know? Probably not.
You probably shouldn't, but
Gus, you and I may have
we do have
interacted
one.
with some lawyers that might have needed that, but
I bet, Jim, if we get 10 guesses, Neil and I will come to
yeah. It was in Miami, so you both got a footprint down there for many years.
yeah, probably not a good idea for us
Yeah.
to guess. Maybe off the air we'll
Off the
guess,
air.
and then Jim can tell us later whether we got it right or not.
So that was definitely that was recent, and when I pitched this service, Veritex Virtual, which kind of replaces video conference because you do not even have to leave your office. You can do it right from your computer or iPad as long as you have a webcam. When I pitched it, I said, you could be here, and Gus could take the deposition right now while he's in Columbus, and attend via the computer and the web. And then I go on and tell them we've even done it where they're in the same office and they couldn't sit in the same room together. So that's how I
That
pitched it.
really is amazing.
And people always laugh when I pitch that if while I'm doing a presentation or.
I'm assuming the judge ordered that. I mean, that's not something.
Or did the court reporter come up with that on her own?
Yeah, we kind of changed. We did it on the fly, right there at the depot, and so
That's creative.
yeah. The
Was
judge-
it done at one of your conference rooms
Yeah,
as
in our
opposed to on
office,
site?
yeah.
Yeah,
mhm.
because I know, like Gus and I, if we have a big enough depot, we have a nice sized conference room.
Right.
But I had a depot once with that 16 people involved,
Yep.
and
all
so
of
we
our
had to do
attorney
that at your
clients can
location.
use our conference rooms. We do not charge, and that's all across the nation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of them are very state of the art. And the one in Miami has great views. We have 14 offices in Florida, but I could help you anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So that was
I know that you don't only contract with lawyers. You have corporate contracts, so larger corporations that constantly get sued
Right.
or constantly suing people
right.
require certain lawyers to use Veritex
Right.
or other court reporting agencies. But I mean, it's a contract you have with companies. I know, like for tobacco, I think you have the Altria contract,
Right,
which
we
is
do, we
Philip
work with
Morris.
a lot of Fortune
Right.
150, 500 companies. We work with the Home Depots of the world, the Lowe's, many of the drug companies, Ford. We do all the Ford work nationwide.
A lot of rollover
Tobacco,
cases.
a lot of rollover with the Bridgestone fire. Exactly.
Right.
So we do a lot of Ford cases. We do work for a lot of the major companies, and they're in-house counsel, and then they require outside counsel to use us too.
And what's amazing is, Gus likes to give me a hard time about my age. The technology has really developed along the lines of when I was first practicing law. It was that standard little stenography device,
Yep.
and that's all you had. I mean,
Yep.
there weren't video depots were in early 1990s were really
Right.
not
Phone
popular.
tablets, Neil. Come on, be honest.
Dinosaur, huh?
Right. It was that Fred Flintstone. You have an image of Fred Flintstone on a stone tablet trying to record what people are saying. But
Yeah, technology's
Jim,
come.
Jim, real quick, how did you get started with Veritex, and how long you been there?
I've been with Veritex 9.5 years. I was at another national competitor 2 years before that, and I knew the owners of this company, and they recruited me, and thankfully I was able to come over without any. The non-compete was we were able to get past that, and I've been very happy for the last 9.5 years, and most importantly, many of my clients that I'm still working with have been happy too, because I got a lot much more support here, and makes a more pleasant experience for clients like
So
yourselves.
you actually had a non-compete.
I do. So
you have one now too.
I do.
Right? Yeah.
So if I'm not looking to leave. I love it here, but if I did, I think they would come after me because of the volume of business I have.
Yeah, because Jim's not a court reporter, if it's not clear to everybody
More the
listening, or all 10 of our listeners now. We used to say 5. I think we've doubled to 10 last we checked.
Well, if you ask me, it's 11, Neil.
Is it 11? Oh, that's
With
right,
Gus.
because technically you're a listener. Whoa! Book the cruise. I'm going to call the missus. We got one in Nebraska somehow. We got a listener in Nebraska.
Nice.
But so next week I'm going to find a joke about corn.
We're going worldwide.
Yeah, but Jim is with marketing and development at
Business
Veritex,
development.
not actually a
Correct.
court reporter.
So I go out and I form relationships with the law
Yep.
firms and attorneys, and when they have a need, they call our office, and we're able to help them. Yeah.
Now, normally we'd be going to a break about now, but instead of for those of you that are religious listeners to our show, all you have to
Hi,
hear,
Mom. Hi, Dad.
yeah, my dad, your dad, whatever the other 8 people that listen, all that is a 2-minute spot where you hear what wonderful lawyers Gus and I are, and what our ratings are, and our
let's be
phone number.
clear.
What?
I have a 15-second spot. You have a 45-second spot.
Well,
I don't know how that played out, but
That's what you get for letting me draft the spot. Plus, I have more material to share than you. I've been doing this a little bit longer.
Grade, Mr. Coffey won the Sportsmanship Award.
Well, what they said was to do it. It was a weighted distribution, and since I weigh twice as much as you, I have twice as much time.
You beat me to it.
There we go. Yeah, I said it before you did. Exactly. I knew where you were going to come from. So instead of doing our 2 minutes, Jim, for those of you that are actually watching the video, or later if you're in your car driving, you obviously don't want to watch a video while you're driving if you have that technology, but maybe you get home and you want to re-listen to the show. Jim brought a video to show some of the really cool technology that Veritex has to offer, and from a lawyer standpoint, it really is amazing how far we have come from the stone tablet days. So I know that Freddie, our producer, has the video ready to cue at some point, and we're going to talk a little bit about technology. So, Jim, I'm going to pass the mic to you and go for it.
Great, thank you. Yes, the video is introducing Veritex Virtual, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a web-based conferencing tool. So when you do have to take a deposition and the parties are geographically dispersed, there are several options. One, you can travel, which today is not very easy, as you know. Secondly, you can call in on the phone and do a telephonic depo, but you can't see the body language and whatnot. And another option is video conference, but you have to go to our facility, and you would take the deposition at the, say, the Veritex office. Well, we created Virtual about 2 years ago. Virtual allows you to sit right at your home, in your office, at your computer. You can, all you need is a laptop with a webcam, and the audio is over the telephone line, so it's much clearer than being over the computer, and it allows you to attend that deposition from anywhere in the world that you have internet access. And we've done these worldwide. As I mentioned, we've done them to Korea. We did one in Cuba recently where it was an elderly woman. She couldn't travel, so we shipped a laptop down to the location there with the reporter. And the reporter will bring the laptop. We ship laptops. So Veritex Virtual.
Did you get the laptop back?
Yep. Yeah. Well, I think hopefully we got that one back.
Yeah, don't give anything to a lawyer.
But we'll ship laptops. If you want to put your exhibits up, you provide the exhibits to us prior, and Veritex will put the exhibits up as well on a split screen from the Veritex Virtual. And it also allows you to take the deposition in real time if you like. Real time is where you can see the scrolling text on the screen of everything that we're speaking right here now. So Gus can attend right now from Columbus, as long as he has an iPad in his hotel room or whatnot. So give me a call anytime you want to learn more about Veritex Virtual. I'll be happy to demo it for you.
Now, one of the things I've used it for, and I think it's interesting, is if I'm taking a deposition of an expert, and let's say I've got to travel to California to depose an expert witness on biochemistry. Well, I like to think I'm a smart guy, but I don't know all there is about biochemistry. So I've got my own expert back in Miami.
Right.
That expert can follow along and feed me questions through the video panel while I'm sitting in my screen.
Right.
And that's what I love about it. It's getting that assistance because...
having that chat session
right.
there. Yep.
I mean, back in the early days, we used to fly our experts with us for very complicated depositions because you need to have that. Or, those lawyers that like to travel with 3 associates, just their entourage, we'd call it. Now they can stay back home. But that doesn't work because
nobody wants to pay for that
those
anymore.
3 lawyers can't bill the client for all that.
Right. Right.
We can name some law firms there that I
yeah.
won't go.
Yeah.
That would milk bills like crazy. They'd send 4 lawyers to a deposition when, let alone, I don't know that all 4 of them knew what they were doing, but clearly 3 didn't.
Yeah, lawyers like that require us now to ask how many are attending, so we don't make sure we can fit in the room.
Right. So your corporate clients, you're able to save them money by
they can
convincing
attend
lawyers
from
that
New
to use
Jersey or wherever they're located. Correct. Attend remotely.
Well, and to be honest, guys, I think nowadays with technology, that's to be expected. I would imagine most clients would say, well, can't you just, with the Skype and FaceTime and whatnot, the ability to be able to video conference is something that, most clients would expect.
I'm glad you brought that up, Gus, because yes, clients say, well, I could use Skype, but Skype is not HIPAA compliant like our technology product is. And also, you don't get the pop-up windows, because I have some demos I show where the attorney is questioning.
Is that like on pop-up video?
Pop-up, yeah. It looks like that.
But we love to watch those movies. What is
I
it
can
they
show you guys some great examples.
They show movies on some of these channels that have the pop-up.
Yep. Yeah, like MTV, pop-up, yeah.
But no, I mean, and that's one of the things I thought was interesting, because why I wanted Jim to come on is because this isn't just for lawyers and corporate clients. Anybody who has to retain a lawyer has to be aware of some of this technology out there, because when you're hiring a lawyer, you don't want to pay your lawyer to do things the old-fashioned way, and they can save money. For example, if you're in a case in which there are witnesses out of state, and your lawyer is telling you, well, I got to fly first class to New York to take this deposition. No, you don't.
Yep.
I mean, the technology is a lot less expensive than even a coach ticket to New York. From Miami for witness deposition. So one of the things, those of you that are listening out there that do have to hire lawyers, we've done a lot of discussions in our shows about ways to save money and ways to make sure your lawyers are doing things to save you money. This technology is an important part of it, because it's not just the legal practice, it's all the things we have to do as lawyers to employ technology and to work with things like this.
Another benefit about Veritex Virtual is one flat fee for the whole day, whereas video conference you're paying by the hour. So if you reserve that room for 4 hours for your depot in California to Miami, or California to here, and it cancels, you're going to end up paying for 4 hours, and they go like $350 an hour a location.
Right.
This product is a fraction of the cost, and it's it's in HD and it's great. We've had a lot of success with it.
If I do virtual, is it also being recorded simultaneously?
Yeah, we could also do that, Gus. Correct. We could record it. We can do it in real time. We can put up the exhibits. And there's an extra charge for those other features. Correct.
But you would pay for those separately anyway if you wanted to do them.
Right.
Interesting. Well, we're down to about 10 minutes left or so, so I want to hear another story. I want to hear something bad about a lawyer. Go give me the second story. The court.
All right, so we had a depot. The attorney, this man is a loose cannon. It's also in Miami, actually. He was, asking and answering questions with the opposing counsel and his witness, and he gets up and he punches a hole in the wall. Punches a hole in the wall, and and then we're hearing all this noise. So then my VP, they came in and just find out how he could assist. They cooled down. They went off the record. They cooled down, and this man, I've seen this guy in Miami, and I've seen him at events, and he's a little wacky. He's a little crazy, and then a few months later, he had some issues with some past due invoices, and he threatened to beat up our vice president, Michael.
Michael?
Yeah,
I know
Benowitz.
Wow, Benowitz.
Was the most mild mannered guy.
Oh
in the
my
world.
gosh!
So needless to say, we don't do business with him anymore. He wanted to beat him up because we wanted to send the collections.
Did you make him pay the past due invoices?
He paid for the damages.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, if he didn't have to pay, then every lawyer listening out there is going to threaten to beat up poor Michael, knowing that they're not going to have to pay. In fact, I owe you guys some money. I was thinking the same thing. Well, maybe I'll just give Michael a call and.
So sure, it's drywall.
Yeah, drywall. We do a lot of drywall litigation.
Is that? Yeah.
This was probably right around the Chinese drywall time. Yeah.
Right. So was it punched a hole in your drywall at your offices? At your offices, not at his office?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. These are, of course, these are extreme, but
Well, they happen.
Yeah, they happen.
That's funny.
I have another good one.
Let's hear another one.
Our court reporter that was supposed to come
Tell
tonight.
me the one about Neil, please.
No. I slipped him a $10 bill not to tell any stories about me. You're going to have to pay him $20 if you want to hear one.
You guys are easy. You guys are great. So we were taking the deposition of a very prominent NFL running back who's spent many years in the league, very successful. And at break, the court reporter came back from break, and there's a love note on her machine, her steno machine. He was asking her out. So that was a good story. I really wanted her to come tell that one, and he's very, very well known in South Florida because he went to one of the big Florida schools. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, no, Jim, I want to have to hit you up later to find out because I got my guess.
Yeah, I have my guesses too. That's funny. I bet. I mean, court reporters are. I'm sure that there's
attractive. Yeah.
I've never noticed, Jim. I'm just focused on my exhibit and my witness.
Yeah. My wife listens to this show, so I can't say.
And then I have certain attorney clients that request only female court reporters.
I actually
have to look at a certain way.
I had an elderly male court reporter for the first time in a Veritex deposition I took in.
And he gets mad when I send one like that.
The one that I took in your Boca office that I called you on the phone because I didn't get the address right.
Right, Mark. Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Poor Jim's like, I'm panicking because I misread the address. It was 2 doors down from where I was. But anyway, he was great.
Good, yeah.
And I've never had a bad one, but it's funny. You think of certain jobs, you have that stereotype as being male, female, and for whatever reason, court reporters, mentally you tend to think female.
Correct.
But I've had male court reporters who are very good.
Right.
In fact, There are a couple. There's that small group. I can't remember the name now. I think they're now affiliated with Veritex that used to do the tobacco work. That was a guy that owned his own agency.
Elliot?
I can't remember him now.
Okay.
But it'll come to me in a minute. But
He maybe got bought up by one of the larger companies. Yeah.
But there are male court reporters out
There
there.
are, and they usually.
But you
are
actually
very-
have lawyers that specifically request
Oh,
female
yeah.
court reporter?
Oh yeah.
They don't ask them to wear anything particular, just request female court reporter?
Yeah, but
And
that's
they'll
the stuff
probably
they
request
ask me.
specific ones too.
What, Gus?
They probably request specific court reporters as well.
Oh, absolutely, and we do try to accommodate that.
But I do, but
And that's
I
fine.
do that
That's fine with us.
because
You're
when you've got,
comfortable.
especially when you've got a case that's going to have a lot of depositions and a lot of technical terms, like this case that y'all are
that
helping me with now,
biomechanical-
which is an intellectual property pharmaceutical case that I'm working on,
Right.
and you start talking about creatyl L-leucine and creatyl L-glutamine and all these chemicals that you've got to know the name of. If you have a court reporter, once you get them and they've got their word list, then they're able to take those depositions and do it
Right.
easier. So it makes more sense.
Absolutely, we like
So
to
I
send
do
you a reporter
request-
that speaks
yeah.
that language.
You
know.
do. I mean, I think there's a benefit to having the same court reporter for a particular case.
Absolutely.
But when I do it in tobacco, we have a list of 3 or 4 that knew all the terms.
Right.
Like addiction. That seems to come up a lot in the tobacco deposition. Well, Ken has given us the 2-minute sign, Gus. So this is normally where you start to give me a chance to debrief, but I'm gonna pass the baton to Jim to tell everybody give him 1 minute to tell everybody what we've learned today, and then we'll go to Gus's deep thought for the day.
All right, the first thing I learned on radio, TV here, is I need to slow down and speak slower.
I had to pass Jim a note when the video's like, slow down, Jim. Yes, you learned that.
But I'm happy to be here. It's great, and you guys are great, and I'm so glad to be part of it.
Well, great. That was
Yeah.
a nice summary. Complimentary. Gus, you have 1 minute.
Well, mine's easy, Neil. We were talking about, I think, obviously value and whatnot, and that's the kind of takeaway is Jim's company is a national company, and they may not necessarily be the cheapest, although I know they give good value, great bargains, but they're the best for a reason. And so I thought it would be apropos to come up with a picture. I'll give you credit, Neil, for this picture. Hopefully it should be coming up. It's a deep thought of the day, which it's basically, it teaches the lesson of sometimes you get what you pay for.
Oh, yeah. There will always be
and let
someone
me
who
know
says they can do it cheaper. The video is now up. And for those of you
yeah.
watching, it's a picture of somebody's got a Pegasus that they're asking someone to do a tattoo on their back. And the tattoo on the back looks like a horse with butterfly wings. You just have to
get
go
what you pay
online to
for.
look at this picture. You get what you pay for.
Yep.
Exactly.
Now,
So,
Neil, are you sure you don't have a tattoo similar like that?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
I'm pretty good.
yeah. All right, Gus, I'm getting the wave signal. We've got to end. Good night, everybody, and thanks for listening.
Good night.
All right.
You have been listening to Attorney Confidential with Gus Bravo and Neil Kotze, 2 rated AV trial attorneys with over 40 years of experience. Tune in next week for another episode of entertainment, insight, and just plain fun. That's Monday, 6 p.m. on WNN, 1470 AM. See you next Monday for more Attorney Confidential.
The opinions expressed on the preceding